Hey, Lance Egan here with Fly Fish Food with this week's Skill Builder, number 8, the Ocho. Today we're going to cover 3 things. Number 1, something I do every time out, which is reduce memory in my fly line. That'll make casting a lot easier for you. Number 2, we're going to cover the differences between standard and balanced style flies. And last, we're going to look at one of my favorite techniques for retrieving line.
That's a big brown throw.
All right, here's a quick tip for you. The first time you get out fishing, whether you're fishing still water, river, whatever, the first time you pull line off your reel, each and every day, you want to straighten it. So what I'm going to do first is pull all the line I need off my reel first, the amount of line that I think I should cast. That way we're not pulling the line off our reel like this, like a rookie, every time we cast. Then what I'm going to do is just kind of try and send it out here. Then, on this very first pull back, I'm going to pull about a yard at a time and give the line just a little stretch. Pull, pull, pull and hold, all the way in, at least until like the last 10 feet or so of my line. Hopefully that part gets stretched by a fish here pretty quick. But this, just taking this 1 minute here, 30 seconds, at the beginning of every day is going to make it so that you don't have as many line tangles throughout the day. So it's as simple as that. Once you've got it stretched, now you're ready to fish. All right, let's take a look at some balanced versus standard flies. So balanced flies are not limited to just stillwater fishing, but they are most commonly used in lakes and ponds. So stillwater applicable for sure. Some of the things that differentiate, as you can see here, we've tied up a few of these flies so you can kind of get an idea of what they are. Balanced flies, in my opinion, were very first developed to fish under indicators. So a balanced fly like this, basically what happens that's different is instead of the tying point being on the front of the fly, like a standard bugger or leech or a standard streamer would be, they make the tying point kind of off-centered with the weight in front of it, so that the fly will hang horizontally. So if we tied this woolly bugger on here just like we've got it, standard bugger, and we tied it on and fished it below an indicator, it's going to hang that way. Where in reality, a leech or a bugger, a leech or a minnow or any sort of insect that would be swimming in the lake would be more horizontal, not hanging vertically. So although that can work, it can certainly catch fish, it's definitely more lifelike to have something that's tied in on the side to make that fly fish a bit more horizontal. So some of these other examples show that as well. Here we have a standard ruby eye leech versus a balanced ruby eye leech. In this case we have a cone head for the weight instead of a bead, but same thing applies. A standard streamer hook versus a jig hook with the weight on a pin out in front of it. So balanced flies, generally speaking, are using that pin to move the weight away from the eye and using a 60 or 90 degree jig hook to make the tie-in portion of it on the top of the shank, if you will, as it rides like a jig with the hook up. So for me, I use the balanced style flies for indicators, and I use them on a floating line or a midge tip when I want to retrieve things very slow, and I use a standard streamer style hook or nymph hook when I want to fish them on sinking lines or methods that are less static. So intermediates, I oftentimes use the standard leech patterns on type 3, type 5, type 7, parabolics, that kind of stuff. More of the standard style of tie-in, floating line, midge tips, things like that, or indicator with a floating line, naked fishing without the indicator, then I'm going to use more of the balanced style. The other option that isn't truly totally balanced but is close, actually 2 other options. One is tying a jig hook with an offset or a jig bomb, or there's all kinds of different names for them, but the little teardrop shaped beads, those kind of get semi-balanced, or just a standard jig hook with a tungsten slotted bead on it. They will not fish totally balanced. They'll fish kind of at an angle a little bit, but they're not totally vertical. They're not totally horizontal. They do still tend to fish more like a balanced fly than like a standard fly. Outside of that, you could use all these for anything. We even have customers that buy balanced flies for fishing in rivers as a streamer. That can work too. It's not limited to this, but we do suggest when you're fishing lakes, again, especially with an indicator, with a midge tip, or with a floating line, to use that balanced style of fly. All right, I just sent a cast out. Let's talk real quick about still water retrieves. One of my favorites, especially when I'm using a midge tip like this, is called the hand twist retrieve. It's as simple as twisting with the hand. We're going to take up a little bit of slack. Pinch with the index and thumb, fold the rest of your fingers over, release. Pick up, release, pick up, release, pick up, release. This is a particularly good technique when you want to move stuff slow. It keeps you from wanting to move it too fast, because even when you're going full speed with hand twist, it's not taking up a lot of line. The other advantage is you're always in contact. So as soon as I feel a strike, I can strip set, versus when I'm stripping like this, there's always a time between each strip where a fish can eat and I'm not in position to strip set. So that's a better technique when I want to move a lot of line. But when I want to just crawl nymphs or leeches or something relatively slow, the hand twist retrieve is my favorite way to do it. Oh, there's one on the hand twist right there. Then once we get the fish on, we're going to change from the hand twist back to stripping, because we can't hand twist quick enough to take up slack and get those fish to the net. Hungry little tiger there on the Chronomid Frenchie. Adios amigo. That's it in a nutshell. It's pretty quick, pretty easy. It does take a little bit of getting used to. Let's do it one more time. Send this cast out. Take the line in your hand. I'm going to pinch with my index finger and my thumb. Take the rest of my fingers and fold over. Then release. Fold over, release, fold over, release, fold over, release. And just like that, it just continues. Fold over, release. You can even build it up in your hand a little bit and then hold several coils and let them all go at once. If you have a stripping basket or something like this though, I usually just release between each little pickup. Pick up, release, pick up, release. Just crawling the flies back, not moving them too fast. Again, really convenient to set the hook, ready to strip set. That way you won't be as tempted to rod set.
Catching and holding it.
On the hang. That one eat my calabatus? That one did eat the calabatus. Look at that. That's good. Now I have two flies that are working.